Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Today, I am joined by Kaylie and Rob, better known as That Horror Couple here on YouTube. Kaylie, Rob, how you doing tonight, guys?
What's going on, man?
How are you?
Thanks for having us, dude.
No, I'm so excited to work with you guys. We were able to connect through social media, and it's just one of those things where social media can be a terror for some people. It can be a blessing for others. And it's been such a blessing to be able to hook up with amazing people like you and get the opportunity to work with other creators that have the same interest in mind. Now, for those of you that don't know That Horror Couple yet, they've been doing this for a little bit since the pandemic started. They met, we were just talking about how social media can be a blessing. These two met through Instagram about 6 years ago. Kaylie ended up moving from Georgia to meet Rob in New York a few years ago, and it's worked out so well. They met because of their love of horror. And during the quarantine, they decided they were going to take that to the next level, start That Horror Couple, the channel on YouTube, and just to review horror films and horror content. And I was able to stumble upon them. I loved their chemistry. I loved the way they worked together. And I said, let's make this a threesome and let's work together through video like this. So a little bit about these guys, all their social media links, as well as their YouTube channel. The links are in the description. So you guys can follow them on social media. You can please subscribe to their YouTube channel. Check out their content. It's wonderful content. And I'm so excited to work with them, not just today, but more in the future. Enough from me. Rob, Kaylie, what can you tell us that we missed a little bit about That Horror Couple and your guys' start to the channel?
How we got started? Yeah, like you said, it was just during the pandemic, and we met from just online. We were a member of like a what was it, like a chat,
like a movie group,
like
we watched movies like long distance online.
Yeah, and like it was a bunch of members in this horror chat group, and we'd all like pick a movie for the night, hit play at the same time, and that's how we started talking. And eventually, like, we made like funny comments during the movies, and like horror movies, things get funny, because things are like, horror movies a lot of times are easy to make fun of because it's like, so like, I don't know, a lot of times we just wind up laughing over like silly things. And I'm like, so during the pandemic anyway, we're like, yo, we should start recording this. I'm like, it might be funny. And that it kind of just grew from there.
Just grew into it. Yeah.
I was like, yo, I wish I recorded like our comments on Halloween last night. That was, or just something like that. I was
made the little
oh yeah, that intro is just me. One day I was like, Kaylie, we need like a song. So like I put together like a 3-chord like Ramones style song, and I actually got compliments on the intro. But it's like, I like that song. I'm like, really? I was like, I wrote it in 4 seconds, really?
But it's funny you compare that to the Ramones, because my favorite Ramones tune, Pet Sematary, was written in an hour by that band. Stephen King came to him an hour later. They were like, check it out. And he was like, that's it. We're putting it in the film. Like, it's funny how inspiration can come that quick and how it can land so easily. So it's so cool to hear you guys talk about it.
Simplest thing gets stuck in your head too. So it's like, I thought that was like a cool way to start the show. And yeah, I mean, and I just didn't know. And another thing I want to say is just how overwhelming the support was. Like, everybody was just all positive. And I wasn't really expecting that. I was like, I don't know what the reaction was going to be. I didn't really care, but I was like, but everybody was just like so nice and so kind and so supportive. And I remember one of the greatest things that someone ever wrote to me in the comments was, I was having a terrible day. I'm going through like personal problems right now. And they said, I watched your video and you cheered me up. And I was like, oh, dude. I was like, and this girl was from like a different country. I had no idea who she was. And like, that kind of made my day. And I was like, that's a cool thing. I was like, so we went from like making each other laugh to hopefully like, humoring other people. And, I don't know. I wanted
That's what this is all about, man. Like, people don't get it. Like, when you get a comment like that, yeah, it makes our day. But the reason it makes our day is not for a vain reason. It makes our day because we know that as human beings, love is what keeps us going. And your love of this and your guys' hard work made someone else feel that love and appreciation and brighten their day, for even if it was for 10 seconds, that light that you guys put in that person's life, it meant so much to them that they had to let you know. That's such an incredible thing, man. And it's something that a lot of people start to take for granted over time. But the fact that there's so much hate in this world, if you could spread, even if it's through the goriest horror movie, spreading the love that we have, the horror community is the best community in the entire world. I've never met anybody that's a part of this community that I did not instantly fall in love with. It's so amazing, and how, like you were just talking about, the support and the genuine kindness that we get in this community. I love everybody in it, man, and I would do anything for this community. And I get to work with you. My part of my job is to work with amazing people. I'm like, this is my job, man. What people look at, and I'm living the dream right now. So thank you guys for helping to make this happen for me.
No problem,
Of
dude.
course,
And
thank you.
I'm actually a big fan of your channel. And what I really noticed right away about your channel is I was going through your interviews, and of course, there's a lot of big names from YouTube. And I'm like, oh, I know that guy, but there was a lot I didn't hear of yet. So it was like the popular people, but yet the people that I'm like, oh, what's this? And, you know, your channel is great for like just everything that's out there. And it opened my eyes to some stuff that I didn't know existed. So
Same.
And that's my goal. I hope that somebody, and once this episode airs, I hope there's that person that watches this and goes, man, these guys seem super rad. I'm going to go check their stuff out. That's what I want. That's why I love working with everybody. Because if I can get one person to watch your guys' channel, I've helped you, and I've helped to contribute to what you guys are doing. And that's what we all need to be worried about. Not what can I do for me, but what can I do to help my friends in this community? So anytime, because I can promise you guys right now, this is not the last time you're going to see me working with Rob and Kaylie. I have an instant connection with Rob. This guy is me and him grew up the same, man. So, and Kaylie is just the most beautiful, kind person in the world. So I can't wait for you and Ashley to meet together. And it's going to be a lot of fun to continue to work with you guys in the future.
We got a music connection. We found out we got a music connection too.
Man, that's what music and movies. That's what we grew up with, man. That's our life. So
we like,
and I can't wait to see what you guys. Go ahead, brother.
We like a lot of similar stuff. I was saying, as far as like everything, like music too. We found out. So
yeah, that's why I love making these connections, man. Like you can learn. Me and you grew up on different sides of the United States, but the love that we were and the things we were doing at the same age. You can't make it up, man. It's movie material, man.
Right. I think we're similar in age, probably, though. I would think.
I'm probably I'm 35.
I'm 38. I'm 38.
Oh, I would have thought I was older than you. You must have taken better care of yourself, son of a bitch.
No.
But yeah, guys, I do want to. We're talking about right now and in the future, because I'll be working with you guys in the future more too. And right now, with what you guys are doing with that horror couple. But now I want to go back to the past, and I want to talk about what got you guys started in the horror genre. Your first horror movie. I'm going to start ladies first. So Kaylie, your first horror movie was
Jaws.
What a great start to your horror world. That's awesome.
I love it. Obviously, huge fan.
Me too.
Rob, your first horror movie was
Halloween.
He's here with us, man.
Awesome.
Nice, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was at a sleepover at like age 10, and my buddy had like a bunch of VHS tapes, and two of those tapes in the stack was Candyman and Halloween, and Halloween just stuck out in my head, and it's still with me to this day. And I'll get into it, but like you said, lady first. So
yeah, so Kaylie, we're talking about Jaws here a little bit, and usually I ask these questions, but since I have both of you on here, I'm going to bounce questions off of you. I won't ask you guys the same questions just to make it go a little quicker. I don't want to take up your guys' whole night. Kaylie, do you remember how old you were the first time you had seen Jaws?
I think I was like 4 or 5. My dad loved the movie, and he showed it me and my little sister. And my baby sister wasn't even born yet, so I know I had to have been like 4 or 5 years old. Yeah.
And you know what? I like your dad already. He just sounds like a swell gentleman.
Can I interrupt for a second?
What? Yeah.
I said how we met in that horror chat room, but who I started talking to originally before Kaylie was Kaylie's mother. She was in the chat room, and she was a huge horror fan. So me and her were talking about horror, and we became friends, me and Kaylie's mother. So the more we started talking, she's like, this guy's just like my daughter. And she introduced me to Kaylie. So it's always good to get the approval from the mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Oh, dude, you can't do it unless you do. Like my wife's mom is my mom, dude. I love my wife's mom like I loved my mom when she was alive, dude. Like she's one of the most special people in my life. So I definitely understand where you're coming from there, my friend. Rob, you said you started watching Halloween at a sleepover. Now, did you do a double feature of Halloween and Candyman, or was Halloween the one that you guys had watched?
We did both. And I remember, this is what got me about Halloween, because when you're a kid, At least for me, usually the bad guy always gets caught, always gets punished. Evil's always punished at the end, right? The ending of Halloween, it just got me that like, wait, he got away. He's out there. He's still like that ending is just so effective. When Loomis shoots off the balcony and he's gone, dude. Like me as a 10-year-old kid, I was scared. And then I just see the credits roll and I'm like, that's the end of the movie. I'm like, no, that can't be the end. And
yeah,
you know,
dude, and what I love about that is, like you said, not only is that unheard of, but Halloween, when it was originally written, was meant to be an anthology of films. Every year, Halloween was going to be a different story. That's why you get Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Obviously, with Halloween 2, they had to continue the Michael story because of how popular it was. And that's what really hurt Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. That's why you get the return of Michael Myers. But I love the idea that they were going to make, I would have loved to have seen Halloween end there. Obviously not because I love where the franchise has gone, but it would have been cool to see just, if I think if Halloween 2 would have been Season of the Witch and Halloween 3 would have been the snake from the toilet or whatever, you know, I think that Season of the Witch would not have been frowned upon as much. I think it's kind of gained a cult following now, but at the time, that movie tanked. People hated it.
It took a while because everybody wanted the Michael and there was no Michael. So, yeah, but I think it's a great movie. Season of the Witch is a great horror film. And
it's in my top 4 Halloween films, to be honest with you.
It's so good.
I always wondered if it was just called Season of the Witch. I think it would have found its audience a lot easier. And I just think that Halloween and it being in the middle of the series, I think that hurt it. So
just wait until I remake it, man.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
A fan-made sequel's on the way.
Yeah.
So
yes, and I'm so excited for it. It's gonna be so good.
The third channel I heard or something like that. So.
What is it?
So it's that film's called The Third Channel. It's coming out some fan-made film. We covered the trailer on our channel. It looks pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
That's how I heard of it. Actually, was through your guys' channel.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, really? We're spread. Right, cool.
Always do it, man. Now, Kaylee, I want to jump back to Jaws real quick. Now, Jaws is a movie that is influential on many levels, and this is something I wanted to bring up with you guys because the score from Jaws, the score from Halloween. People know these scores even if they've never seen these films. People know the Michael Myers piano. People know the dun, dun, dun. So these movies, more than the films, are influential in pop culture with their scores, especially. Now, that does not take away from the effectiveness of what Jaws is and what Jaws did on the screen. So my question to you, Kaylee, is which scene was it from Jaws that affected you the most?
When Quentin's being eaten alive. Yeah.
I totally get that.
That film is PG-13.
No, it's PG.
Oh, it's PG.
They have PG-13 back then.
With that scene in it, I still can't. That whole boat fills up with blood.
It still bothers me. It gave me nightmares as a kid. Like him, and the whole like how he goes into that story about how he was on the SS Indianapolis and how he saw a bunch of his friends like get eaten alive, and then it's like it happens to him. Like it was such foreshadowing. I just that scene is so iconic and still scares me and keeps me out of the ocean today. You know?
If you think about that scene, you know, the SS Indianapolis scene, he was freestyling most of that. And these guys are drunk. They're legit drunk. Like on set. If you get the chance to watch any behind the scenes on Jaws stuff, because you were talking how this is PG. You have the Alex Kittner kill too. They kill a kid. Like they kill a kid in this movie and it's PG. But we've talked about, you know, movies back then could get the PG rating because there wasn't the PG-13. Jaws, Poltergeist, Tourist Trap. These movies are all rated PG and fucked me up as a kid. So I totally get that too. Now I do want to bounce back to Halloween real quick because we were just talking about the score and how effective Michael Myers is because he's not a monster. He's a human. He's just a guy that could be your next door neighbor that just snapped. Now, when you think of Halloween, Rob, what is the first thing that pops into your head?
October. Like that atmosphere, that whole atmosphere of that movie reminds me of autumn. And it's like October's my favorite month, but like when I see the leaves change color, I think of Michael Myers right away. Yeah. So, like, I think that film was just so effective. It just like the whole atmosphere of like Halloween was captured in that movie so well, you know, and I just love the characters. I think Loomis was great. Laurie Strode, PJ Souls, all of them. I just I think it's the greatest horror movie ever made. So I love that so much. Like I said, the
I
end.
don't think anybody could argue that that's the greatest horror movie. Personally, not my favorite. It's just not.
No,
But
it was like a blueprint that every slasher film after
Yes.
that was following. Though it was like, I don't think there would have been a Friday 13th if there wasn't a Halloween, and you know.
And Victor Miller, the writers, came straight out and said that. You know,
Yeah.
he came up with the name Friday the 13th, and he bought an ad before he'd even written a fucking word of the movie and started advertising Friday the 13th. You know, and then he was like, "Hey, let's do what they did in Halloween a little bit differently." Like for Victor Miller, it was really, let's mix Psycho and Halloween.
Yeah.
And he just like showed the gore, and that's something Carpenter didn't rely on, but he just like kind of like kicked down the door, and he was like, the gore was shown in Friday.
Mhm.
So
Yep. And you know, when Victor Miller, that's something that he told me is like, I took Psycho and Halloween and mashed them together. The mystery of who's the killer, making it be the mom, showing the gore, but the slasher of having it throughout the whole movie of Halloween. I was like, I never even thought of it that way. But Friday the 13th is Psycho Halloween. Like that's what it is.
That is true.
right, yeah, and I remember that same night of the sleepover, Tony Todd as Candyman just was so scary. Just that character, the fact that he could just disappear and reappear in the end of the hallway, and then like not just the way he appeared, and it was just that character is so bizarre and so scary, and like there was no rules. He can it was just yeah.
One of the scariest moments to me in cinema history is Tony Todd in that parking garage going,
Helen.
The strip search scene after she's arrested and covered in blood. Well, we're a bunch of 10, 11-year-old kids at the time watching this, and there's like a side boob shot. So me and my buddies were like, oh crap. So we rewind it to see like side boob again. And like, it's funny because I watch the film nowadays and I'm like, that's what we were freaking out about. I'm like, we were like hitting pause on it just to see some side boob,
right.
But
Yeah, I've never done that ever.
You should give it a shot, man. It's funny now because like you go back to watch it nowadays and you're like, that's what scared me, or that's what I found crazy. Like it's just funny. I was like, that's what we were freaking out about. But
right. And
yeah.
Candyman, I've said this before too, is the perfect love story for a horror movie. It is one of the most romantic stories of all time. It's seriously heartbreaking when you look at it from his point of view at the end, when the trash piles on fire and he's like, come back to me. Like it's heartbreaking. Everything that Daniel Robitaille has gone through, and he's finally gotten his Helen back, and she's abandoning him. He's literally screaming, stop, come back to me. That's how much he loves this woman, and he loved her so much he died for her. This is the second time. So I could go on about Candyman all night, but I got to get back to my little buddy Jaws. Kaylee, we know which scene affected you the most from Jaws, but what would you say your favorite scene from Jaws would be?
My favorite scene would probably I do really like the Alex Kintner scene. I love that whole like beach scene where it's just you think it's like a family day at the beach, everybody's having a good time, and you see him like paddling out. They just set up that like it's just a happy day, and then next thing there's blood squirting up in the air, and he's getting eaten.
Yeah. And if you look for the photo, go on Google and look for the photo, guys. If I remember, I'll put the link in the description for it. There's a photo of Bruce the Shark eating Alex. That scene was much more graphic when they originally had done it, but because of Bruce the Shark malfunctioning so much, they couldn't get the shot perfect. And I love it. I think less is more with Jaws. If we would have had more of Bruce the Shark, I don't think the movie would have been what it is today. And we're talking about kills. You're talking about Alex Kintner. We talked earlier about Quint, but what we haven't talked about, Rob, is your favorite kill from Halloween. What would you say your favorite kill from the film is?
That's a great question. Let me think about this for a second. Let me think about it.
While you're thinking of that, because I can't ask you the next question. The next question has to be specific for Kaylee.
I'm gonna go with Annie. Just how he was in the backseat of the car. He goes after Annie, and just her struggling around and like trying to fight back, but she can't. I think that's pretty effective. And just after he cuts her, she's just leaning against the. I like that. I like the wrestling between Annie and Michael. I thought that was pretty effective.
I love how there's no score during that part too. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing during that whole part. Makes it so much darker. Now,
Yeah,
this question I couldn't ask you, Rob, because it's already happened softly, but it's already happened. Now, a question I've introduced lately on the podcast is when we talk about your first horror movie, would you like to see this movie remade today? Now, Kaylee, obviously we've got Halloween 2018, we got Halloween Kills, so we do have more sequels, but we are still getting them churned out today. So that question doesn't really fit well, Rob. But Kaylee, I got to ask you, would you like to see Jaws remade today?
I think it be left alone. But I would definitely, if it was remade, I would definitely give it a chance and check it out. They would do because it would be bad, but then that wouldn't be fair. I would give it a chance.
I want to know why shark films, like newer shark films, the shark looks worse than it
It's
did.
CGI.
Like I feel like the shark looked better back then for sure.
Because he's animatronic, just like in Jurassic Park, they were animatronic.
If you look at like Jaws 3, like the CGI shark heading to the wind, like, yeah. I can't even get started on the other Jaws movies because the first one is such a classic. And you just brought up a fight that I have all the time, Kaylee. To me, Jurassic Park, 100% a horror movie. I will fight that till the end of the world. It's a creature feature. It's a horror movie. You got the T-Rex. You got the raptor literally doing the claws around. Like, it's a total slasher, 100%.
You remember when that came out? I was like 11 years old and McDonald's was backing it up, giving Happy Meals out to kids. So I think my mom took me to it because we think it's like a family friendly film, because like you can get a cheeseburger and fries with like this little toy. So like we go to it and the dinosaurs wind up trying to kill people. And I was pretty scared. Yeah. Like I said,
I was like 3 or 4. Yeah. When I watched it.
No, but
when you have the ripples in the water, the way they did that was because they couldn't get the water to ripple. You're a musician. They took a guitar string and they strung a guitar string from the bottom and they plucked the guitar string and that causes the ripple in the water. And you watch this happen and you're just like, that's fucking, I got little emo goosebumps right now, but you're like, man, it's terrifying when you see the water ripple because it's so perfect. And then you see the T-Rex and there's so many memorable moments in that movie. Like I still, when I watch it, get goosebumps when you first see the Brontos and the score kicks on, and it's such a fantastic movie and it's such a good horror movie. Now we talked about your guys' first movie, and Kaylee, you're lucky. You get to cheat here because I am going to ask you both this question, but I'm going to ask Rob first because it's his turn in the rotation. So you're going to get time to think about it, Pumpkin Eater. So Rob, we talked about your first horror movie, but my little buddy Ghostface here has a question for you guys. What's your favorite scary movie, horror couple? What is your guys' favorite horror movies of all time?
As a couple?
No, I mean yours and then hers.
Okay, I would say Halloween, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Friday the 13th. I feel like those films, they changed horror forever. And I feel like,
Do you mean the original Friday the 13th?
Yeah, I feel like Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the original Friday. I feel like after that, we got the whole 80s goodness period, which is some favorite stuff. And when, like I said, my first experience, I was about 10 years old, but I started collecting horror like teenage years. And what I really enjoyed is, you talk about like Friday 13th, how true it was to the story, each sequel. Like the first 4 Fridays, you could watch back to back because they take place the next day. You know what I mean? And like I always liked that about horror, how good it was, true it was to the story. So yes, I would say like I would say those 3 films because I feel like if you look at the 80s, everything that came after that, there was a lot of imitation and a lot of influence from those 3 films. And I just feel like regardless of what anyone thinks of those films, horror wouldn't be the same without those 3 films. I just
100%.
Yeah, so,
that's just like Scream. When Scream came, I look at the movies the horror movies that came out in 94, 95, and then the ones that came out in 97, 98, 99, and tell me that in 1996, Scream did not completely rejuvenate the horror genre and flip it on its head. 100%, just like Friday the 13th, Black Christmas before that. These movies all just like I think right now with Halloween, reigniting the slasher. Then you started, we're getting another Scream reboot. The Chucky TV series was fucking dope. So, you get these slashers that are coming back because that one movie came and was successful. People were like, yeah, let's do it again.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree with you too about the show. We just finished up the premiere last night of
Or the
Chucky.
season finale. Yeah.
Yeah, the season finale is Chucky.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was good, man.
Can't say much yet because I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen it yet, even though this episode will air a couple weeks after. Wow, that shit got dark.
Yeah.
So what about you, Kaylee? What's your favorite?
My favorite is It from 2017. And It Chapter 2 and Halloween 1978. Those would be my top 3.
What was the first?
I said It Chapter 2 and Halloween 1978. I'm a big Stephen King fan, and
What about the 2018 you liked a lot?
Yeah, but I thought we were doing
okay
the top 3, so that's what it. But yeah, I love the It novel, and I felt like these 2 movies were such a true adaptation to the story, and I love the way they did the characters. I loved all the actors. I love Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. That's probably the movie I've seen the most in my life now. It's probably It 2017, and it's my favorite movie.
So I think It Chapter 2, I think Bill Hader, I'm one of the people in the minority that I think It Chapter 2 is the best one out of all of them, including the original TV miniseries. Bill Hader's performance in that movie, I've watched that movie probably upwards of 10 times, and I don't rewatch movies that many times. Every single time I watch that movie, Bill Hader's performance makes me cry like a fucking baby. Every single time. When they're at that quarry, every time. I cry every time. I cry like the end of Ghostbusters Afterlife. I cry like a baby every single time. So now guys, I've had so much fun hanging out with you and doing this, but I always end this with the same question. We're going to go back to your first horror movies. And since I started with you last time, Rob, I'll start with you, Kaylee. What we're going to do is we're going to rank this on a skull count. Now, we're not ranking it on production. We're not being critics. We're not score, acting ability, nothing like that. What we're doing now is strictly ranking this movie on how much it affected you. So Kaylee with Jaws, 0 to 5 skulls. What would you rank Jaws?
5.
Gotta be. And I think I know the answer, Rob, but for Halloween, 0 to 5, your ranking is
5.
Again, what I love about this, I would never give any horror movie a perfect score. The closest one I've given a 4.5-star review to is A Nightmare on Elm Street. I think that's as close to a perfect horror movie as you can get until that dumb fucking ending with that stupid Freddy car and the mom going through the window. Stupid, ludicrous. But besides that, perfect horror movie. Now, I do want to say this again. I said it at the top, guys, but now we're in the third act. The final girl made it through alive, so I got to remind you, all of their social media links and their YouTube link is down here in the description. So make sure you're subscribing on YouTube. Make sure you are following on social media. Rob and Kaylee, don't go anywhere, please. I have a couple more questions for you guys. Everybody else, thank you for your support. It means more to me than you could ever know. From the bottom of my heart and from my family, everything is going really well here, and that's because of you guys and the amazing guests that I've been able to have on. So thank you so much. And until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.